It's a pleasure to be speaking in this forum, and I would like to congratulate the previous speakers for the wonderful presentation and for demonstrating the capability of the software that makes lives of organizations and institutions very easy to report ESG parameters. So it's so very critical in current day. So as mentioned, good afternoon, everyone. And my name is Millie Majumdar. I'm a Senior Vice President with the US Green Building Council. And today I shall be talking to you about the green building industry, its global impact, and about LEED, the world's most widely used green building rating system. At USGBC, and for those of us in the green building community, we spend the better part of our days talking about the need for our society to be more resilient, healthy, and equitable. The global foundation for sustainability we have set in place is indestructible, and we are driven by a strong vision of green buildings for everyone within a generation. So our mantra and our vision is that green building is not an elitist proposition. It is applicable and should be made available to one and everyone within this generation. And in these times, where the entire world is united by a pandemic with common global common problems that we face, no more, than ever, we are feeling the need for having sustainability embedded in our day-to-day lives. So while I'm talking about the green building industry, I'll take a moment to talk about some important trends that we have seen at USGBC as it relates to the global green building industries. So we have partnered with the Dodge Data and Analytics on a World Green Building Trends report. And the report surveyed over 1,000 participants from nearly 70 countries. And here are some of the highlights. Number one, we overwhelmingly see the growth in the green building being driven by strong business benefits and increased asset values, savings, and payback over time from the foundation on what drives green buildings and businesses. Number two, client demand and environmental regulation top the list for motivators when deciding to build green. And very, very importantly, again, related to today's context, occupant health and well-being is so very important when most of us are confined to our homes owing to the pandemic that has struck all of us. Thirdly, of course, we have seen that what is in this survey, we asked that what drives and whether the industry players are wanting to take forward the agenda of green buildings within their own, within their own portfolio buildings. And nearly 50% of the leading players in the industry say that they expect to build more than 60% of their projects as green by this year. Was when we, that was demonstrated when we conducted the survey a few years back, but it remains a constant figure. And again, from the building owners' perspective, the numbers are no different. We see about 57% of building owners are planning to make most of their projects green year on year. So LEED, which is our core brand of USGBC, we have more than 102,000 projects that are participating in LEED. In fact, every day, and it is one of the key solutions to current environmental challenge and a tool that improves human health and well-being. And LEED is a true market transformation tool. And the numbers are humongous, what we certify. So every day we see about 2.6 million square feet of space is certified to LEED, raising the living standard and the sustainable living for all in cities, communities, and in buildings around the world. So LEED as a rating system that we deploy is a tool, as I said, it's a market transformation tool, and it's a tool that enables sustainable building, sustainable living in cities, communities, buildings, and all types of functions that in which human beings occupy spaces. and as the world is facing more and more challenges and our resources are depleting very fast, so we have transitioned to a more aggressive vision. And our now goal is to see that complementing the programs that we have, how we can move towards net zero. So net zero is a goal that we have set for ourselves and the building cities and communities that we influence to achieve net zero goals in terms of energy, water, waste, and the presentations which you heard earlier on waste management, that is, we find one of the most critical aspects in which world needs to have a definitive shift in how we look at waste and waste as a resource, and see how we can opt for waste minimization and look at recycling, repurposing, regeneration, and multiple concepts around achieving net zero. So I will also give certain examples as I speak through our different programs in a nutshell. So the LEED Zero goals, that has of course seen a few early movers and early takers. So this is one building, which is in the United States, the Integrity Headquarters, which is a net zero energy building. It's a modest building, which is about 13,000 square foot of area, and it belongs to a sustainability and energy service company. Uh, Interestingly, this was an old building that was refurbished and repurposed and made into net zero. And similar to what we heard about the waste stream, that minimization is the first principle that you deploy in any circumstance, and then you move towards, say, a zero goal. So for this particular building, demand minimization was the first and critical aspect that was deployed in form of energy efficient lighting, highly efficient mechanical systems, and very importantly, how occupants behave in that building and how occupants take care that there is no wastage was also very critical. And certainly, technologies were deployed to make it net zero. But we found one very, very interesting aspect. Whenever we say about green buildings or talk about green buildings, we talk about buildings. So now buildings per se do not have life in themselves. It's the people in the buildings that make them efficient or operate them efficient. So it's so for this particular project, we looked at how is it that integrity as a building and the occupants are using, are deploying their own resources as well, deploying their energy to see that not only they have built to a net zero standard, but they are able to maintain it. So what they told us is very interesting, that of course they reduce the demand side energy consumption by different energy efficiency measures. And one of the main hurdles which they faced in making a LEED Zero was the financing aspect. And local legislations and local regulations around green is very, very crucial to move these concepts forward. And again, one very important thing, people in all these efficient green buildings also have to be very active and ensure that they have a proper behavior to maintain a net zero goal or to maintain the efficiency goals that they have set for themselves. And very importantly, management and maintenance is very crucial. So this is, I am from India, another LEED Platinum project in India. It's a net zero building. It is one of the largest building of the Ministry of Environment and Forest in India. And again, the first principle of this building to get to net zero was the demand minimization. And if you see on the consumption side, it consumes about 1/5 the energy consumption of maybe a conventional building, and whatever is the balance energy demand that is met by a on-site solar power plant. Some more images from the building. So now, through the LEED program, as I said, we influence these programs and the construction, and ensure that buildings, cities, and communities around the world are moving towards achieving their sustainability goals. So today we are excited to be able to say that LEED is a full-scale global movement. The numbers speak for themselves. LEED is everywhere with projects in about 167 countries and territories and is growing. And we also have a very strong leadership development and education program in which we develop professionals who are able to facilitate green buildings around the world. Over the last 20 years since the release in 2000, LEED has served as a rating system, a market development and a marketing tool, and a third-party verification system. It has very importantly been a very key policy development tool for government leaders, and government leaders globally have embraced it and mandated LEED to achieve their own goals in their own countries. And there are many examples. I'll come to a few of them. In the US, for example, many cities and government agencies require that any new building to be built to LEED, and more than 400 municipalities, 32 states, and 14 federal agencies reference LEED as a best practice for achieving their sustainability goals for building. We have this new program which we have deployed, which is the LEED for cities and communities. And we have seen again, that is promoting safe, healthy, inclusive, smart, productive, efficient, and resilient communities. And with over 200 plus global cities and communities adopting this program, which is very well aligned to the global goals of sustainable development, we see that it's getting deployed and taken very seriously at different levels. For example, one of the LEED certified city of Cincinnati in Ohio offers tax abatements through its commercial and residential programs for any LEED certified building. So what happens is that if governments and municipalities offer incentives around green building programs, then the scaling up of these programs and more green buildings coming into place are larger, and the numbers scale up very fast rather than individual efforts. Similarly, there are other incentives that are getting offered, which is like permitting fee reduction, etc. And also we see a large renewable energy and energy efficiency program being incentivized in multiple cities that are adopting the LEED for Cities program. Since I'm speaking to you who are based out of Dubai, based out of UAE, so I thought I'll talk about Dubai, which is one of the first LEED Platinum city. And Dubai has adopted multiple measures, on energy efficiency, renewable energy, waste management, water, transportation, and human experience to get to the LEED Platinum standard. One interesting fact, since we had a conversation around waste, that municipal waste diversion from landfill was about 25% in 2017 in Dubai. And they had set up a goal of about 75% diversion by this year. We have several other cities, this is of the Saudi Aramco, the new upcoming King Salman Energy Park that is also certified to LEED standard. And interestingly, this was a new city that was coming up, and it deployed several measures to make it one of the most sustainable city in Saudi Arabia. Shifting gears, again coming back to the building side, LEED is undeniably an economic development tool and is agnostic of the market conditions. And very, very importantly, a LEED certified building saves money, consumes less energy, uses less of water, uses much fewer resources, and very importantly, offers much better indoor environmental quality, which is so crucial. And we also asked, often we are burdened with question that are these buildings more expensive? Do they, cost more? So we did a survey, and we did ask a few of our clients, and we found that about 14% operational savings for new green buildings is achievable, if it is designed to LEED standard, and about 13% operational savings is achievable if existing building gets retrofitted to green standards. And so this is the number that I spoke about. And going back to what I mentioned, that we are some of our clients that does it add to your cost. And Populous is a very key client of USGBC, and they kind of told us that their data proves that the cost of pursuing lead adds less than 1% of the total project cost, while accounting to significant water and energy savings and subsequent payback. So this is hardly any incremental cost, for the benefit that they are getting. And In the start of my presentation also, I mentioned that we have repeat clients and who are continuing with us and progressing their journey towards green buildings, because they definitely feel that LEED positively impacts their ROI, and the numbers speak for themselves. Before I conclude, I would like to walk through a few examples. This is in Mexico, 7-Eleven store, which is the first convenience store in the world to achieve LEED Gold certification. It saves an average of about 25% on energy consumption. Citibank in Mumbai, it decreased potable water use by 42% and energy consumption by over 600,000 kilowatt hour per year. And consequently, there was huge amount of financial savings. US Department of Treasury, Washington, D.C. decreased potable water, electricity usage and steam usage by the numbers as demonstrated in the slides, and certainly saved American taxpayers an impressive $3.5 million, annual basis. This is one of the tallest, towers, which is Taipei 101. And again, we are proud to say that this is, certified to LEED. In India, one of the key buildings of the government of India, this had a very phenomenal achievement of decreasing about 100% of potable water use and a significant amount of energy savings. So the examples and numbers are huge. And this year we have, launched our new vision, which is healthy people in healthy places equals to healthy economy. And this is so very crucial. If people in buildings are not healthy, then we cannot have a healthy economy. And complementing our vision, we have also launched different pilot credits as part of the LEED system that helps us to be better prepared to face the pandemic in future if we are landed up in similar situation, or when we go back to our office, or as we stay in our homes for a longer time, how we deploy measures which were not known to us earlier, that we need to deploy them to have a safer living within these facilities. So thank you very much for your attention, and I'll be happy to take up any questions that you may have.